Hey, what is up guys, it is Mike here, and today I'm going to be showing you my top 10 animatronics in both Five Nights at Freddy's games. This idea was suggested by many people in my comments, but I believe the first one to have suggested this is Guy with a Top Hat, so thanks man. So up number 10 we have BB, who of course is known quite widely as Boy. So BB is short for Balloon Boy, and he's a human-like animatronic with a round body and looks very much like a child. BB is probably the most hated animatronic, which of course is reflected by the name everyone calls him. He keeps taunting you with his child voice box and with his laughter. Oh, and also he is the only animatronic in the whole series who looks sort of human. Also, there is an alternate version of BB who can appear under your table with rosy cheeks and pink eyes. So yeah, be careful with him, because if he does get into your office, he will disable your flashlight and your blind spotlights. So yeah, as you can see, he is very creepy and also very annoying. And after number 9 we have Chica version 1. This is of course one of the old animatronics that were scrapped in the second game, and Chica has a broken mouth which makes her animatronic mouthpiece sort of stand out, which is pretty creepy. Oh, and also Chica V1 doesn't have any hands. Instead she only has cables, which I don't think are very useful. Also, there is a conspiracy theory that Chica V1 is responsible for the missing paper plate in party room number 4, the same paper plate that appears mysteriously in your office very rarely. Although, like I previously mentioned, Chica doesn't have any hands, so how could she have gotten hold of the paper plate? I don't know, don't ask me. Maybe she used her butt or something. Maybe she was designed with the ability to clench her butt cheeks really tightly. How the hell am I supposed to know? Ask Scott. Sorry about that. Now for number 8 we have Toy Chica. So when you see Toy Chica on stage in the second game, she might not look that scary, but the creepiness comes in as soon as she leaves the stage, because then she, for some reason, gets rid of her eyes and of her beak. And so without her eyes and beak, she looks really freaking creepy. Personally, I think that Toy Chica looks much scarier than Chica from the first game. And I think the reason is because without her beak, she almost looks human. You know, it's that sort of uncanny valley where she is almost human, but not quite. And you know, she has that weird emotionless facial expression and that weird creepy smile, you know, and those teeth. But anyway, moving on, she also has a cupcake in her left hand. Doesn't really seem to really do anything, except some people have conspiracy theories that the cupcake is actually a hidden camera. But anyway, we're not gonna go into that rabbit hole in this video. And after number 7 we have Bonnie V1, so the faceless version of Bonnie. So of course he is missing a huge chunk of his face, and also he is missing an arm. The reason why of course is because the V1 versions of the animatronics have been deprecated in favor of the new toy versions. So yeah, of course Bonnie has a creepy look, but also he is a very active animatronic in terms of gameplay, especially on later nights. And after number 6 we have the original Freddy Fazbear from the first game. Quite possibly the most recognizable face of the whole series. He is pretty much the mascot of Five Nights at Freddy's. After all, the game has been named after him. Out of the 4 original animatronics, Freddy is the smartest, the hardest, and the most unpredictable. He is pretty much the main antagonist in the first game, and is pretty much the biggest challenge. However, he only starts moving on night 3, so the first 2 nights you don't really have to worry about him. Are you ready for Freddy? And now for number 5 we have the Golden Freddy from the first game. He is often referred to as an Easter egg, but actually he plays a very important part in the game and in the story. The way to make Golden Freddy appear is when you look at cam 2B in the first game, you will see a poster on the wall which might very rarely turn into a close-up of Golden Freddy's face. Now if you stare at it for a little while, Golden Freddy will appear in your office and he will then jump scare you. But then instead of being brought over to the game over screen, your game will crash. So Golden Freddy is very probably a hallucination, because first of all, he can enter your room even if both doors are closed. Also, his reflection is not shown on the monitors, and finally the fact that he crashes your game is akin to other hallucinations in the series, for example Shadow Bonnie or Purple Freddy. The Golden Freddy suit actually has a very dark history. It was the suit used by the killer in the murder of the 5 children, and for that reason it is very probably haunted. And at number 4 we have the marionette, aka the puppet. Now it is widely believed that the marionette is pretty much the force behind the curtains, in other words the one pulling the strings. It is believed that the dead kid in the Give Cake minigame actually became the marionette and possessed the restaurant. And MatPat mentioned this in his second Five Nights game theory video, and the main evidence for this is that if you look at the marionette's face, you can see the little 2 purple lines going down, and they are very similar to the tear lines of the dead kid. And the marionette is probably the most mysterious and supernatural of all the animatronics. The marionette is also the only animatronic in the game that has no official name. The only name given during the game is by Phone Guy, who calls it that puppet thing. Also, talking about the Phone Guy, he said that the marionette always creeped him out, even saying that according to him, the puppet always seems to be thinking. And after number 3 we have the Mangle. Now originally in the lore, the company produced the Mangle to be a redesign of Foxy, aka Foxy 2.0. It was supposed to be sort of a more kid-friendly version of Foxy. However, after the kids started to disassemble it piece by piece every day, they ended up just labeling it as a take-apart and put back together attraction. Mangle has a very distinct radio noise that you can hear when it gets close to you, which is actually very useful because you don't have to watch it all the time. Also, out of all the animatronics, Mangle is in the worst state of disrepair, which makes it, in my opinion, even more badass and scary. Also, the Mangle has been the source of many fan theories and debates, such as, for example, the meaning behind its static, and also the whole debate of whether it is male or female, both of which I have covered in previous videos. And after number 2 we have Bonnie from the first game. Now Bonnie, according to me, is the most scary animatronic in the first game, and according to the creator as well. Scott Cawthon said once in an email to one of the wiki organizers, he said that Bonnie was so scary that he actually had nightmares from him, and also that the other animatronics never really scared him that much. And also, you gotta admit, the Bonnie death screen in the first game is pretty freaking creepy. Oh, and its lack of eyebrows, that doesn't really help much either. And also there's that weird mysterious groaning sound that Bonnie does when he's close to you, and we know it's not caused by its robotic voice box because it sounds just way too human. So what the hell causes it? I honestly don't know, it's just creepy. And now for number 1 we have the beloved Foxy. So Foxy is a pirate. It has an eye patch and a pirate hook. And the way it attacks you is it runs down the hallway very quickly and then enters your room. Foxy is the only animatronic in the first game who doesn't actually get up in your face when they attack you. He just sorta leans in through the doorway and screams, which actually led many fans to theorize that Foxy might actually be a good guy and that he doesn't actually physically kill you, but rather his voice box simply malfunctions and he lets out a high-pitched sound which gives you a heart attack and kills you. And so the whole thing would be sort of accidental murder. I actually made a video about this before, but whether this is just a fan-made story because everyone loves Foxy, or whether the actual game developer had this in mind is unknown, but I guess we'll never really know unless Scott decides to shed more light on it. But anyway guys, thank you for watching my top 10 as usual. If you enjoyed, please subscribe to my channel for more 5 Nights at Freddy's videos and top 10s and that kind of cool stuff. And otherwise, I'll see you guys next time. Peace!